Okay, once you sit down, I'll... Wait, what are you going to be doing?
Nothing.
You're just here to be my audience? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crochet Convos. We are in we made it. Episode number 2. For those of you who doubted me, we're here. I was going to flip you guys off, but I felt like that was too aggressive to start off the podcast. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that watched my last episode, the first episode of Crochet Convos. It was so sweet. The comments I got, the people who said, keep being me, do whatever I want to do. I vibed with y'all so hard. I guess you guys can see I have a new friend with me on my lap. And this is my Nessie I made. I'm not going to be crocheting today because I realized how hard that was to crochet and to talk to you guys. And then today's episode is going to be a little bit deeper. I'm going to be diving into mental health. And I wanted to have my full attention. So I wanted to show you guys, I made a little Nessie, so we're still keeping it crochet vibe. For those of you who are listening in, I have a crochet like Loch Ness monster I made, and she is so effing cute. She took me 17 hours to make, and it was all worth it. I don't know if I have the heart to part with her. I don't know if I'm going to sell her. I've had a couple people ask me how much she is, and I still have yet to know if I'm going to sell her or not. She looks like she's sleeping, and she's just so sweet, and I used fluffy yarn, and for those of you who haven't worked with fluffy yarn, you're basically crocheting blind. So it's really cool experience. I want to make more. But that's why I won't be crocheting. But for those of you who are market prepping right now, for those of you who are sewing or doing whatever you're doing, getting ready for a market, thank you guys so much for checking in again. For those of you who are new here, my name is Lari. I own a crochet channel, and I do lifestyle vlogs and market day videos, which you guys are doing so well and giving so much love to my last market day video. It was so fucking fun. And today we have an audience in the podcast room, aka my guest room, aka my office, aka everything, storage room and all, because Oscar and I live in a 2-bedroom house. So this room has just become a jack of all trades. And it's my husband. He's here. Woo! He came in because he actually wanted to support for once. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Guys, I propped up my notebook. He already fucked it up. I had the box. Quítate. Me caes mal. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if that was behind.
Pregunta. Guys, I have my little notebook because I'm trying new space awareness or spatial things in the podcast room. And I put up a box so that it could hold my notes right here so I could look at it. And what does Oscar do? Moves the box. So now it fell. So thank you for that, baby. Anyways, so I wanted to dive in a little deeper this episode. We kind of went over how did Crochet Refined Vibe start, which, led to now the podcast Crochet Convos, which I really wanted to outline. One, have a place for those of you who are market prepping. I know that we market prep for hours of a day, and just so you can have something to watch and listen to or have in the background. So if I'm in the background, I'm over here. And I just wanted to have that as an option for people who are like me, listen to murder documentaries, watch things that just need to have something running in the background. But this episode, I really wanted to dive in. We had a lot of questions about mental health, staying true to yourself, and I wrote them all down. So we're going to go through them, and I appreciate every single one of you who are, messaging me over Instagram, asking for advice. For those of you who I haven't responded, I'm so sorry if I haven't responded to you. My Instagram is getting flooded with questions all day, every day. So I apologize if I haven't responded to you guys. It's better to get in contact with me if you email me on refinedvibes.com on my shop. I just look at my emails a little bit more. So I would go check me out on there. Babe, if you're going to be doing that face on the side, you're going to make me feel like I'm boring. He's like zoning out. He's like this. Okay. So, one of the first questions that I got was how to stay true to yourself when you have doubts. And I wanted to talk about this question because there is no one that I know more in this world that doubts herself or used to doubt herself more than me. I was very big into negative self talk. I used to engage in a lot of just behaviors that weren't beneficial to me, in the sense where it's like I would always break myself down. If I looked in the mirror, I only had things to talk about myself that were negative. So I would point out things that I didn't like instead of things that I did like about myself. And oh my God, I just feel like I have a cat on my lap with this thing here. But what I was saying was, I used to just point out things that really I didn't like about myself, and it just kind of became, once you start repeating a repetitive behavior, it just becomes what I said, repetitive, and it's not going to help you in whatsoever. I would point out things I didn't like, my nose, I would talk about my weight. I don't even weigh myself anymore. I just was constantly doubting myself. So for those of you who are doubting yourselves, you are not alone. I definitely did that type of stuff. I did those things, and in the end, it just ended up fucking myself over in the long run, just because it took me a long time. When you're digging yourself a grave and you're digging and doing all these negative, behaviors, it's gonna be really hard to climb yourself out. And the way that I was able to now, because I'm gonna be honest, for a little while I felt like I was kind of just drowning, and I felt like there wasn't a place for me in this world. And I know that a lot of us feel that way. I know a lot of us are kind of like, well, what the fuck do I do with my life? Or what am I doing? I'm just floating. And for a long time, I felt that way. I'm watching you with my hands, and you're distracting me doing that. This is gonna be so hard. Anyways, I just wish you guys could have seen what Oscar was doing with the blanket. Baby, what was I saying?
Talking about floating and not knowing what you wanted to be in life.
I was just checking to see if he was listening. But yeah, so for a really long time, I felt like I was floating. I felt like I had no purpose. I had no real direction, because I was just working a job, a 9 to 5, a clinic job. For those of you who already know, I always talk about it. Horrible clinic jobs that I just wasn't happy with. And I was always really sad. And now that I transferred over to this YouTube gig and this YouTube journey, I have learned so much about myself. I have changed so many things about how I view myself. And a lot of it comes from the people who are commenting. A lot of it comes from all of the feedback I'm receiving. And most of the feedback, even though I get those 1 or 2 haters, which I don't care, but most of the feedback I get is so sweet, and you guys have made me actually look at myself in a different view. Like, I have stopped so many of the things I used to do. Like, I went ahead and started practicing affirmations every morning. I have a notebook that a really cute small business gave me. That's like Geneva Coal Binding. And they gave me like this really cute cow notebook. For those of you who watch the vlogs, you guys saw it. And I practice and I put my self affirmations in the morning, and I do like 2 or 3 of them where I say I am strong, I am confident, I am worthy. And instead of waking up and saying the negative shit I used to say to myself in the mirror, now I've replaced that with something that's a little bit more productive, in the sense that it's going to help me feel the way I want to feel. So now, being in this space where all eyes are on me and everyone is kind of like either judging me in a good way or judging me in a bad way, the best way that I stay true to myself is just to go with my gut and understand that what I've done has got me here, and what I'm going to do is going to continuously get me here and push me forward. Same goes for my husband and I together. I always make sure that I'm staying true to myself. I make sure I check in with my husband, because we're a team. to make sure that I'm doing what I need to be doing, in the sense is like, is this productive? Is this helpful? Is what I'm doing going to benefit me in a positive way, or is it just going to affect me negatively? And I've been trying to do a lot of steps to help my self-awareness, help my self-esteem, and get rid of that negative self-talk. So that's one of the ways where I've learned not to doubt myself, because everything that I've been doing has kind of felt like aligning. I actually just had a market day, and I went and got a free oracle reading, and it was the first time I had a reading, and I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know if this is some voodoo or what it is, but I really was interested in getting a reading. And the girl pulled one card, and I got a luck card. And it's so crazy, because I feel like me and Oscar have talked about like this whole journey, and how we've always talked, I'm like, how lucky am I, or how much luck, or how has this like whole journey just kind of landed on my lap out of nowhere. And when the girl explained to me what luck meant, it wasn't even in the sense where it's like, oh, you're lucky because this just happened to you. No, your luck has come to you because you've aligned it with your own journey. And it was just really cool. I know I'm not explaining it at all as cool as she did, but for those of you who have been asking, that's how I stay true to myself. I make sure to keep myself accountable for my actions. I make sure to stay on a schedule, because I can tell when I'm not on a schedule and I get stressed. My anxiety goes out the window. And I also make sure to pop my little happy pill in the morning, aka my medication. So there's that. So I really appreciate you guys for asking me questions like that. I want to outline and be as candid with you guys as possible, because no one's perfect. I know we hear that shit all the time, but it really is true. Like, I want to be as blatantly candid with you guys. I struggle. I was going to say struggled. I just don't struggle as much, but I struggled a lot with depression growing up. I struggled with anxiety growing up, in a sense where sometimes it was debilitating. Sometimes I wouldn't want to leave my room, and like, or not engage in anything, or I would make excuses to not do certain things. And I found myself, when I moved to states, I started off on a good foot, and then all of a sudden I started creepy, like slowly going back into those, how do you say it, same mannerisms, where it's like I'm staying in bed all day, going to bed at like crackhead hours, like 6 a.m., waking up at 2 p.m., staying up. And that was a cycle of me not doing anything, not having anything to look forward to. And I just wanted to let you guys know, if that's where you're at right now, where you don't know what you're doing, if you feel like you're floating, you're not alone. You don't need to have everything figured out. Life isn't easy. It's not. Things that are good do not come easy. It's like that stupid little Tumblr quote. What is it? Where it's like, things that are easy, or how does it go? It's like, anything good. How does it go? Do you know what I'm talking about? Things that are good don't come easy. Man, I'll have to think about it, because there's a really cool quote where it's like a Tumblr quote. It's so funny. It's literally like, good things don't come easy, and then something like that. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. Are you looking it up, babe? Yeah. Look up "good things don't come easy." I like having you in the pod room, babe.
You like it?
What do you think? How do I sound?
Different, because it's like you're not speaking to me, so
I know.
I'm not obligated to talk back.
I like look over to him, and he's just kind of staring at me, and I'm like, I'm not talking to you. So it's really fun. Guys, we're hoping later on we're going to get another camera, another light, and another view for Oscar to be now inside of sometimes the pods. So we'll have questions. So if you have questions for both of us, don't forget to comment down below on, I know that Spotify has comments now too. So if you want to comment on, if you're listening on Spotify or on YouTube, make sure to ask us questions, guys, so that on the next pod we can answer them.
Is it most great things don't come easy, but they are worth waiting for and fighting for?
No, it's okay.
I mean, it sounds like a good one too.
It's a good one, but it's not the one I was talking about. This was another good one. So that's why I wanted to say that all of this stuff is really diving into mental health. What's helped me manage my mental health? I think I kind of already said it, where it was like, I need to have a schedule. I need to make sure I'm doing things that are productive. For the person who was asking this, I hope that you are doing everything you can to help yourself, because it's really, really easy, especially for those of us who deal with anxiety and depression, to, I'm gonna be blatantly honest, play victim. I played victim for a really long time, and by play victim, I mean we're so easy to say, like, I'm sad, I don't have energy, I'm anxious. And I don't mean this in a rude way at all, because I've done it. Like, I've done it many, many times where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, nothing's working out for me. Life hates me. And that's not going to help us. Like, that, the best way I can explain is to stop and cut that shit right out. What's helped me is obviously cut those behaviors off. I do my best to not doubt my actions, to follow my gut, trust myself. I'd make sure to look up things that are going to help me. So I've done everything that, I'm not going to say I've done everything, but I practice. Like, I used to journal, but I'm not a big fan of journaling anymore. I practice self-affirmations. That seems to help me. I like to do breathing exercises sometimes. It just depends on how I'm feeling for the day. And I definitely check in with my mental health to see. I kind of take a step back before I kind of jump into a situation and I feel like I'm going in circles. I like to make sure that I'm like stepping back. I assess the situation before I go crazy like I used to. And I say, okay, is this worth my sanity? Is this worth stressing over? Is this worth it? I ask myself. And that's why I get a lot of questions about my tattoo that says deathbed. Because people are like, yo, what the fuck? Why do you have deathbed tattooed on your skin? And I tattooed deathbed because I genuinely like to step back, assess a situation, and say, is this gonna matter on my deathbed? When all is said is done, or is that how you say that? I think so. When everything's over and I'm on my deathbed and I'm like, is this shit that I'm stressing about gonna fucking matter? Like today, I was stressing over a motherfucking printer, guys. I was calling Oscar, I was hanging up on him, and I'm like, you're not helping me. And I had to really like step back and be like, bitch, relax. Is this worth stressing? Is this printer gonna matter on your deathbed in the coffin? No. And it's little things like that. And I know you're probably like, well, that's easier said than done. And it is. It always is. It's always easier to say things and actions rather than anything. But if you don't ever take the steps to better yourself, you're never going to experience a better you. So it's easy to sit in your bed. It's easy to just lay in your sorrows. I know that's how you feel. I get it. I understand that heavy feeling of not wanting to get up, not wanting to do anything, thinking the world is against you. And sometimes these bitches be against you, but that's not my point. It's just what's important is you being able to get yourself up, do the littlest things and pat yourself on the back and slowly build yourself up and learn from it. Any thoughts, Papa?
I mean, it's a good way to, it's hard to do that.
I won't ask you any more questions. I already saw your face. All right. I'll leave you alone.
I was going to answer it.
Were you going to? Okay, answer it. But talk loud.
It's like you said, it's really easy to say, don't let anything affect you. But I think you have to start with the smallest things, like something breaks, like you're not going to flip over, because something broke, like it's the smallest thing that won't matter a week from now, a month from now, especially. Mm-hmm. I think if you start small and eventually get to the bigger things of anxiety or things like that, where people get more affected, I think it's a slow progression.
Yeah,
you can't just attack it.
It's so easy for us to we're so I feel like everyone wants to do everything fast. Everyone thinks it's like open the door, everything's done. We'll get there when we get there. But in reality, you can see the finish line and you're like, okay, I'm at point A and I know where point B is. And you forget that there's so many steps that you have to go through, so many obstacles you have to get through to get to the finish line that come first before you can get there. Like, you have to go over those hills to get there first. You can't expect just to like healy yourself all the way over there. So I agree. Do you feel like you have to work twice as hard because of your ethnicity? And I thought this was a really cool question. Because no. Thankfully, I have not had to have the feeling that I have to work twice as hard because of my ethnicity. And I genuinely think it's because where I am located. Las Vegas, Nevada. I used to be in Arizona. Maybe if we were still in Arizona, maybe it'd be different. But moving to Vegas, everyone here, it's like a melting pot of people. People from all over the world come here. Everyone that I met here was from somewhere else. I think we've met maybe a couple people who are actual Las Vegas locals that were born and raised here. So when I'm at a market, I'm usually surrounded by people of all colors. And we all are so supportive of each other. So I'm in a place where I don't really have to feel like I have to work as hard because of my ethnicity. Thankfully, I'm so grateful for that. If I was back in Arizona, I don't think that would be the same case. Arizona is a little different when it comes to people that look like us, in my opinion. Which brings me back to the next one. And it says, how does it feel to have creative freedom? And I think this is a really cool question because I didn't even realize I have motherfucking creative freedom. Like, I have that freedom to make. Like, I woke up this one morning and I said, I want to make this. Obviously, I didn't make the pattern. I don't know the girls. It's like Moon T Ashy or something. Ashia. If you look up Cuddly Monsters or Cuddly Nessie Monster pattern on Etsy, this will come up. Her pattern's $20 and it's worth every penny. I love this thing so much. I don't know if I'm gonna part with it, but it feels so cool to have creative freedom because I basically was always going by a structure. Like, when I worked at a clinic, I had things that I had to abide by. I had a set schedule. This is when you have a break. This is when you do this. This is when you do that. And now I have creative freedom to say, all right, I'm feeling really good. I'm going to keep working through this. I'm going to feel really good and I'm going to forget to eat all day. And I'm feeling really good and I'm going to make this today. I'm tired of making this. I'm going to make this. And I can't express to you how grateful I am for the simple fact that I get to decide what I want to do with the day. Obviously, I have a schedule where it's like, okay, I wake up and I know when I'm going to work and all that good jazz. But the creative freedom of all of this, where I get to make a podcast, where I get to make videos, I get to edit the way I want to, I get to be the person I want to be on camera and off camera. And I like the fact that I get to be my authentic self with you guys and that you guys appreciate me for it and you guys don't judge me for it. I got so many comments from people who talked about who they were growing up and how much they hated that people would judge them, and having the creative freedom to create a space where we're a community of people, of basically just creative people who don't give two fucks about what someone else has to say about them anymore, is such a privilege and such a fun thing for me. Like, I wake up and I'm so excited to read comments. Like, I thought I would be scared shitless of comments because you hear like the ugliness of it, and I've got my plenty share of you shouldn't cuss and you. Oh my god, that's what we should rant about. I got my first like racial thing. Let's dive into that. we wanted to rant, so here's a rant. Someone literally commented, was it one of my lives? I think it was one of my lives. And I seriously think it was just an internet troll, and I know I shouldn't be laughing at it, but this person commented, "Shut up, you Mexican, go make some tacos." And I was I don't know why, like, I was laughing so hard because it's, like, so funny that someone so idiotic would think that that would hurt me. Like, bro, I ate tacos that night. What's up? Like, I don't know. Like, I love tacos. Yeah, I am Mexican. But it was just so funny that, like, someone would comment that and that there's people out there. And I know it was just an internet troll who, like, you know, they don't even have the balls to put their fucking face on their accounts so that they just say petty shit online because their balls haven't dropped. But it's just so funny to me. And I told Oscar about it. I was like, babe, someone told me, shut up, Mexican, go eat tacos. And Oscar was like, what? What? And I have the really bad tendency, like, lately I've been watching, don't say anything either. Do not say anything. I've been watching Bad Friends. And for those of you who don't know what Bad Friends is, it's such a fucking funny podcast. And it's with Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino and then his niece, Rudy. I absolutely fucking love that podcast. Obviously, they have a lot of racial stuff in that podcast. So I don't know if just me watching and listening to that podcast has made me, like, kind of has made me kind of, like, whatever about, like at least someone coming at me with a racial, like, whatever, just because it's like I'm not taking it too personally because, like, I don't know that person. Who are they to me? What they say doesn't, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, I am Mexican, and what? Like, that's all you can say about me. So it was just really funny. Like, I kind of, like, just brushed it off. Like, I didn't really, like, pay any attention to it. It was funny because the people in my live were like, oh my god, what's wrong with you? And they were, like, going and attacking this person. I was like, honestly, don't even give them the satisfaction. Don't even pay attention to them in the comments, because it's like, you know, I'm not really too worried about them, you know? I don't know. I feel like it goes back to that question. It's like, do I have to work twice as hard because of my ethnicity? And it's like, I don't look at my ethnicity as, you know, I know some people will look at it and, like, be like, oh my god, she's, like, they're targeting me, or I have to work double, like, as hard because I am a woman of color. But thankfully I'm in a space where people appreciate me for me. That person who commented clearly doesn't have a life, and they think, I don't know, it was funny. Like, me and Oscar were cracking up about it. I have no feelings about it. I just think people like that, you know, their balls haven't dropped, so I'm not too worried about them. I was telling Oscar, I really want to get more people on the podcast. I kind of want to have a guest, and so, like, we want to get mics, we want to get a camera, we want to get, like, more lighting, or, like, I'm gonna have to move this bed in a different way so that there's more room. Because I want to have Oscar on, my husband. I really want to get my husband's little brother on this podcast, because let me tell you, that motherfucker is the most ignorant person I've ever met in my life. And I would love to have a conversation with him. And I just would love for you guys to see who my husband's brother is. I love him to death. He's the little brother I never fucking wanted. I love him so much. When we moved states, Oscar's little brother, I honestly felt like our relationship had a little hole in it for a while, because I didn't realize Oscar and I, when we were dating and stuff, we never went anywhere alone. Do you realize that? Like, we always had, like, a carrito, like, full of chiquillos. Like, we always had, like, the car full of a bunch of little kids. And it was, like, Oscar's two little brothers, his cousins. Like, we were mobbing everywhere, and we were never alone. And then, obviously, once people started getting girlfriends and, like, started dating, Damien, Emma, like, and our little grupito turned into just a trio, and it turned into Oscar, me, and then our little child, Cheap, who now is a 5'7", a wingspan of, with a 5'4" wingspan, little child, little skinny man. I think he weighs like 120 pounds. And he was our kind of like our little child that we would take everywhere. You know, like there's a TikTok sound that's like mama y papa, mama y papa. Like that was him to us. And we moved here, and I kid you not, Oscar and I kind of were like, wow, we're kind of lonely. Like now we have to talk to each other. I'm just kidding. And we had to go everywhere with him. And not that we didn't want him with us, because he was so funny. Like, I have so many Snapchat memories with him. And, like, I love him to death. And he's just a little brother that I never wanted. And I'm so grateful for him. And I would love to have him on a podcast, because just me and his, like, we constantly bicker. Like, the best way I can explain it is, like, so Oscar has two brothers, right? He has a middle brother and he has a younger brother, and I'm talking about the younger brother. And when I started dating Oscar, we were like 16, and how much of a difference is it between you and Emma? 4 years, right? So from Oscar and his middle brother, there's a 4-year age gap, and then from Cheap, the one I'm talking about, and Oscar, there's a 5.5 year age gap. And for some reason, Oscar's middle brother and Oscar used to, like, argue, like, so much. Like, they always were the ones that were fighting. And because the youngest brother and the middle brother were so, like, close in age, they would gang up on Oscar. And when we were just friends, like, I would, like, you know, just stand back, do whatever. You know, I would just watch them, like, gang up to, like, jump Oscar, essentially. And, like, they just would always gang up on him. When we started dating, it was a different ball game then. Like, I was like, if you're beating him up, then I'm gonna get involved, right? So then I remember one day Oscar's middle brother was, like, on top of him and, like, beating him up. So I went and I was, like, going to tickle him or pinch him or something, and then I just feel like some, like, an arm around my throat, and I hear Cheap's, and this is when Cheap didn't have, like, I think it was pre-puberty Cheap, right? So his little voice was like this, and he had, like, a little, like, bitch-ass voice, and he was like, let him be, and he, like, grabbed me by the neck, and, like, pulled me on the bed, and so then all of a sudden I'm squaring up on, like, this little kid, and we're, like, fighting, and that's the best way I can explain our relationship, because not even that long ago, it was probably, like, 4 months ago that we were back in Arizona, and Cheap is fully, like, I was just kidding, he's actually like 5'2". I'm just kidding. He's 5'11", and he's really tall. He's taller than all of us now. He's not skinny. I don't want to say skinny because he's gonna have beef with me. He's a lean man. He's going to the gym now, he's a big boy now. He's in college. Like, I feel old when I look at him now. He's going to school for mechanical engineering. So to see, like, this little boy who used to, like, talk about eating his own ass turn into, like, this, like, mechanical engineer, like, I cannot believe it. He's gonna kill me when he uses this. There's a Snapchat video of him pre-puberty, guys, and we were, like, in a Home Depot. I have to talk about it now. We were at a Home Depot, and we, like, used to, like, lock the door and, like, drive away from him. And how old was he? He was, like, 10? He was, like, 11 years old. He was little. And we used to lock him out of the car and, like, drive away. And he'd be like, stop. But, like, guys, he was a gremlin. Like, don't think he was just, like, this, innocent little kid. He was a demon. He still is a demon. He just has a deeper voice now. But we would, like, drive away from him, and when we finally let him in the car, he was like, I was about to eat your guys' ass or something. And I was like, oh my god, I have that on Snapchat. I have the proof, so maybe I'll drop that one day. But he was so little, so I just think it would be so cool to have him on the podcast. Let me know if you want that collab to happen. He actually has a YouTube as well. He said he's gonna get back into it. We'll see if he's really good at editing, guys. Like, he has a drone. Like, he was doing YouTube for a minute, and he was doing these really cool, like, edits, and he had software. Like, he paid like $200 for a software, and his stuff looked amazing. And then I think college hit, and it kind of took time away from him. But yeah, I look at him and I feel like an old lady. Like, I feel like, and he has no problem telling me that I'm old now. And I'm like, bro, I'm only 24. I'm old to you, but everyone in my comments be telling me I'm young as fuck, and that I know I'm very grown. I can hear all of that. The moving. Yeah. What's it called? So it's just really funny. Like, I think it'd be really fun to have him on. I think it's going to be fun to have my husband on. I want to have Mama Vibes on here, guys. Y'all need to tell her she needs to be on here. She doesn't want to come on. I won't force her, but we want her to come on. And yeah, so I'm hoping I can have his dumbass on here. And we're hoping to have Yane on here. I hope you guys have enjoyed the podcast so far. I'm probably going to close out the podcast. I don't know how long this podcast has been, but please, please, please comment down below questions you want for the next pod. I want to see, I'm still trying to play around with lighting, sound. Let me know how I sound. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast wherever you're hearing me, at whatever time you're hearing me. If I'm in your car, if I'm on your TV, I just want to tell you guys I love you guys so much. I appreciate y'all so much. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you for coming into the second episode of Crochet Convos. I love y'all. Bye!